Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's edition of the 9 a.m. spot. We have a great, we got a great person today to meet and to talk to and to interview and to have a great discussion with. I'm just going to wait for Hugh to turn on his video and his audio. We'll begin in a moment. Hey, there he goes, Hugh. Hugh, how are you?
Hey, I'm
Okay.
good. Morning, Bruce. Morning to
Okay.
you and your listeners.
First, before we start, who's your eyeglasses stylist? That's before we start.
Bruce,
Okay.
you're so funny, man.
Because I
No,
got boring glasses.
man, I was just lucky to nab these amazing frames from Acne. It's a French handcrafted company that does these glasses, and I'll give you the contacts off the air.
Super, super. I want to wear next time I see you after we de-social distance. I'll try on your glasses.
All
All right.
right, all
Okay.
right.
So we got a great show today, and we're going to talk about Hugh Anthony, the stuff he's doing, which is really something else.
Yeah,
I'm just going to talk to you about the. I met Hugh through mutual relationships, and one thing led to another, and he's here. Hugh is a
yeah.
very passionate, dedicated advocate and scholar. He's also was the first non-North American president of Kiwanis International, Circle K International sponsored program. He was born in Jamaica. He immigrated to Canada and is a doctorate, a PhD at the University of Waterloo. He also was one of two BIPOC, which I'll talk about, graduates in the program, which he'll talk about.
Mhm.
Today, Hugh is the co-founder and co-chair of the New Humanity Initiative, which is a national nonprofit organization committed to fundamentally change in terms of gender equity and diversity and change and cultural change. So welcome aboard, Hugh.
Thank you for having me, Bruce. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So
Yeah.
could we start? Just tell us about. I'm just curious. Tell us about the
Mhm.
New Humanity Initiative. Actually, first, tell us your journey. Like, I want to start from the early days. Tell us your journey. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
asking that question. I have been blessed, Bruce. I think to really have the opportunity to one have an amazing family, a network of support that have really fostered what I say a sense of duty to humanity and community, and that comes from the fact that I've been a volunteer ever since I was in, you know, uh, junior high school. And what that has done is help me to understand that, service is the rent we pay for living. To borrow, the great phrase from Muhammad Ali, around that, really my thrust into community services moved from the fact that I have been with the Kiwanis International Family of Organizations, yeah, from high school, but I've been involved in community because my parents were always in community. Kindness costs nothing, and our collective humanity is better based on my experience when we work together, regardless of where we're from and who we are. And that's what has really grounded me because of the experiences I have. And I'll share this with you. Volunteerism has allowed me to see the world without taking a penny out of my pocket. Put it that way.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Hugh. So tell us about. So how do we get to the New Humanity Initiative? What's the journey towards getting? Tell us first. Tell us what is the New Humanity? What is that? What
So,
is it?
so thanks again for that. The New Humanity Initiative is a purpose-fueled nonprofit organization, really that is dedicated to be a catalyst for fundamental change as it relates to marginalized or racialized group and to strengthen inclusivity as it relates to our home and native land. So when we think of our mission of strengthening inclusivity, as you know, what has emerged over the last few weeks around, you know, Black Lives Matter, issues around police brutality, issues around systemic racism, discrimination, and all of that. The work of the New Humanity Initiative will be really centered around building engagement, to build awareness, to build advocacy, and to create intentional actions for groups of people who faced social injustices, systemic racism, oppression, within the broader Canadian context or home and native land.
Okay.
So when we think of that, our work is built on three core ethos. We talk about human equity, we talk about access, and we talk about leadership and inclusion. We have been blessed really to live in a country where we are endowed with a mosaic of different cultures. I like to say our métissage, or the fabric of the social fabric of our nation, is one that allows Canada and the city of Toronto to be the most diverse on the planet. And what we have is this opportunity to also build out this table, extend the table, to invite others to share, to come to the table. And what that means is really to shape actions and get commitment from the citizens, from a grassroots level right up to, C-suite and to the offices of our elected officials, to really improve resource-based opportunities and access, and improve the social determinants of health and well-being throughout our society for those who have not had the benefit of that, to put it in context.
Okay. Yeah, but what motivated you to take this leadership role? Like, you've taken a very, you've taken, look, I've known you now for a while. We've been working on
Yeah,
something for 6 weeks together,
yeah.
and you're a very, very passionate, driven person about this. What's inside you that made you? I'm just curious. I'm curious. What's inside you that made you? Because you're putting yourself out there at the front for 'em right now, and there's been, what motivated you to do this? What's the
Or
underlying factors?
thank you again.
Yeah.
Or humanity, Bruce. When I think of how blessed I am to be, I have had the opportunities that I've gleaned and participated in. But one of the things that really drives me, Bruce, is the human condition.
Yeah.
The human condition is that we are, we're here breathing, the opportunity to just even have breath flowing through our lungs.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for our blessing for us to make the most of this moment, the next moment that comes. And what drives me is that I remain restless until our humanity can come together as one. I remain restless until we understand that poverty is a construct, until we understand that racism is a construct, until we understand that the whole issue around inequality or inequity is a construct. Because our earth, humanity, we have so much, but then at the heart of it, we have to move from greed to gratitude. And part of my work is to create gratitude in what we do, in how we interact with each other, and how we treat ourselves. And that's what has been my relentless pursuit
Wow.
to ensure that our human fabric, the social fabric of our societies, whether I'm here in Canada speaking in Africa or Asia or the Caribbean or in Europe, that the social fabric of our humanity, that we all need to understand we play a collective part in how we stitch it and hold it together.
I'm curious. In your life, like, we all have moments in our life, okay? I
Yeah.
want to talk about you in your life. Were there any moments that you want to share with everybody that defined who you are today? You know, like, and we all have them, right? And I know you've
Yeah.
shared some with me offline.
Yes.
I'd like to
Yeah.
share them with people that really, really tell, like some of them even had me in tears. You know what I mean? No, and I cry a lot. So
Yeah.
let's share some real, like,
Well,
share some things about you. You
well,
know?
well, yeah. Well, and it's okay to cry, Bruce.
It's okay.
We're woven like that.
Yeah.
One of the things that hit me, and you would have heard this, was when I was 9 years old, I lost my voice. I'm speaking to you now, and this is a gift, it's a blessing. I lost my voice because I sustained an injury that left me speechless, had me hospitalized. And I realized that the opportunity to see, hear, taste, feel, learn, or senses, it's not something I take for granted. The opportunity to be on this call is not something I take for granted. And what came out of that, too, it's that in that moment, I did not and still do not like to see people suffer. I don't like to see people going through pain. I don't like to see people having to struggle for the basic things that our humanity entitles us to: food, clothing, shelter. And out of that opportunity, I said at 9 years old, I wanted to be a doctor. Well, get this. I wanted to be a medical doctor because that's what I knew at the time. And, you
Got it.
know, having gone through the sciences, I said, okay, there's a route. So I took the um, other option and did a terminal degree. But out of that experience of losing my voice, I realized the gift of getting that voice back was the gift of making a difference.
Wow.
And that is one of the crucial moments in my life. And another one was, I had the opportunity to be in international nonprofit sector, for a number of years, and I would say over 25 years. And what hit me was the the process of birth when you experience a child growing up. And I think it's such a very powerful experience. This one I'll share with you
Sure.
is when I was on a flight to give a speech in the US years ago. And the president I succeeded for the Kiwanis sponsored program organization, Circuit International, said to me when we were prepping to go to the event. He said, Hugh, imagine, you are on a plane with a mother and her baby, and the mother wants to go to the bathroom, but she has this very delicate human being that she's responsible for. And I said, well, I would help the mom. I would be trusting myself to take care of that baby until the mom returned. And I had the experience. And what hit me was when I held the baby on the plane, I said, am I holding the next president of the United States? Am I holding the next Secretary General of the United Nations? Am I holding the next Prime Minister of a country, or someone who's going to go and be the best Nobel Prize winner for chemistry? And in that moment, when I held that child, I realized how privileged, how blessed I am to be, because I'm holding the future. And every minute of the day that I am as a sentient being, I'm reminded of that whatever I do, I'm creating a possibility in the future for generations to come with what I do today. And it's about that legacy piece. When we think about it, how will the earth and our society look in the next 50 to 100 years? I might not be around, but it behoves me to think about what is the type of society we want our future generation to inhabit. And that's what those two stories I can share with you drives me to this day, Bruce, and to our listeners on the 9 a.m. spot. Well, welcome. I didn't get the chance to say thanks for joining.
Wow. And you talked a lot about, because one of your objectives is to create empowerment. Okay?
Yes.
Can you expand? Because empowerment means different things to different people.
Right.
And what is empowerment? And how does someone get empowered? What is the whole theme behind that? You know?
Yeah, thank you for that. The question, when one thinks of empowerment for whom, or empowerment for what? And when I share that within the context of or lived experience, whether it's personal or professional, there are different things that inspire, get people to act, to do what they do. We come to humanity, we show up in life with different experiences and different things that drive us. So when I talk about empowerment, I'm situating it from the context of how do we alleviate and enhance the human condition. So, for example, why would I have gone to do a PhD in recreation and leisure studies, focusing on admin and focusing on policy? And the great thing is, coming from the creative arts side, my experience as a semi-professional dancer, when we think about empowerment and when we think about life, how we show up inspires others. How we speak, do I bring a smile to the person I'm talking to? How we handle situation empowers and inspires others. And when we think about empowerment within the context of what's been happening over the last 3 months, over the last 4 months with the COVID-19 experience, how do we show up? Well, for me, it's been a cathartic experience. But do I get depressed? Do I get hopeless? No. We have a new normal to do things differently and better. We have a new normal to introspectively look, what is this moment teaching me? And what that has taught me with the May 25th, 2020 events that unfolded in Minneapolis with George Floyd, what that taught me, that I have this opportunity, instead of being enraged and, getting angry, I don't need to be there. I need to use that opportunity to be engaged instead of being enraged, to be inspired instead of being insightful, to be decisive instead of having deranged thoughts. And putting that out there, the empowerment comes through how will I show up to help humanity navigate this new normal. And the New Humanity Initiative is born out of that, because the question that we're asking ourselves is, okay, this has happened for a lot of individuals. A lot of people are saying, how do we navigate this? Will this be a 9-day wonder and it moves on? No, it will not be. It is an opportunity for us collectively as sentient beings to now say, let us go create a new drawing table. And the New Humanity Initiative is built on what we call a 7-pillar framework that helps us to navigate this new normal. Because what has happened in the last 4 months, we're just easing out of the COVID, what I call the COVIDian experience. Nothing remains the same. And how can we be empowered, be inspired to enact change that benefits us collectively? And we all come to it with our different experiences. But I don't have to agree with you not to work with you. I don't have to not like you not to work with you. What I think is that we have collective responsibilities to ensure that all humanity thrives through this upheaval that we're experiencing. And the New Humanity Initiative is just one of those organizations that will help with that.
So let's talk about the New Humanity Initiative. It's evolved to, excuse me, to the conference, an event. You're doing it. Well, I'm part of it. And it started off as something little, and it's mushroomed into this really amazing.
Yes.
I want to tell the people this thing is mushroomed into a major event. Now we got media, we got sponsors. It's really, what you've done is beyond. It's probably one of the most exciting and passionate projects that I've been involved with in my life for a very long time. And I'm grateful for it, and I thank you for including me in the journey. and I want you to share. So let's talk about the conference, okay? It
Sure,
came up.
sure.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that journey, what's going on, and share people some of the excited. And let's share people. Let's share. We're excited. It's great stuff. Yeah.
I say ditto to that. We are indeed excited, and I'm really fueled because the New Humanity Initiative has this captive opportunity to kick off its inaugural Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion in the Community Conference on August 12th,
Yep.
2020 at 11 a.m. So in a week's time, we will be on this platform for this conference. And really, the conference is to bring together, members of the community, be government, business, and community, to really have what I would call a spirited conversation without the alcohol. And what that allows us to do is to come from the lens of how do we move from the issue of saying checkbox EDI to intentionally making EDI part and parcel of everyday living. So it's not just about, okay, we show up in our organization, but how we collectively and individually will have the opportunity to hear how in our organizations, in our business, in our community, we're making a difference. So for me, I'm excited with the partners that we have, and a big shout out to CFO Services by Bison
Yes.
Capital Corp to really come on as a big sponsor and supporter to help us produce and make this event what I would say a purposeful and exciting event. And when we think of the speakers that we've gotten, we have, the most honorable.
You got the who's who.
Yeah. I just have to thank them for really agreeing to come out to be part of this amazing event. And what's the objective of an event like this? But from an outcomes-based perspective, and I'm inviting the community to come off. When we think about our community and we think about the three core ethos of the New Humanity Initiative: human equity, access, leadership, and inclusion. What we're saying to you here is to come out and let us have a dialogue so we can move the dial forward. Let's come out and have that conversation about what are the strategies that we're learning, because everything is new as it relates to equity, diversity, and inclusion. No, Bruce, just like how the COVID experience have really brought upheaval and bringing new ways and new thinking to our lives and how we do things. This is what the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion in Community Conference is about. And this is the conversation we're gonna have.
Yeah. So let's get excited here. Let's talk about who's going to be there. Some of the people. Okay.
Yes.
There's going to be over. I think as of this morning, there's actually more speakers we're going to get. There could be anywhere from, when it's all said and done, we might have 25 speakers when it's all said and done.
Yes. So to share with our participants, remember now we have a keynote session which will be led by the Most Honorable Juliet Holness, MP, the wife of the Prime Minister of Jamaica. We have our Deputy Mayor for the panel discussions. We have our Deputy Mayor, Michael Thompson from the City of Toronto, Charmaine Bryan, the first Black woman to be elected to the Brampton City Council. We have, Dr. Wendy Sukie, who is the director for the Diversity Institute at Ryerson University, that have done national and international work on diversity and inclusion. We have the blessings of the light of Lorianne Thomas, who is the president of the Canadian Association of Black Lawyers, coming in, and Nadine Spencer, who is the president of the Black Business and Professional Association. So we have, and not to, we have the business community. So who we have is Christine Remedios, who is the Chief Inclusion and Social Impact Officer with KPMG Canada. So we have amazing lineup of speakers. And then when we come to our 7 community forums, which builds on the pillars of the New Humanity Initiative, we have, coming in amazing people like Dr. Deborah Nixon, who is a nationally and internationally respected human resource consultant. We think about Melanie, who comes in from, Startup Canada. We have amazing speakers, just to name a few to boot. Delia Bateman, who is a lawyer by profession, but has done a lot of advocacy and stakeholder work from her days at, Dalhousie University. So the community forum builds on the 7, pillars of the New Humanity Initiative, which is humanism and conscious civility, and talk about leadership and inclusion, talk about education and community development, entrepreneurship and innovation, and we can't leave out health and well-being. And then we have the Voices of Humanity segment, which really is powerful here. Our Voices of Humanity segment brings voices that have been working in our community, making real serious gains in terms of fundamental change, building and bringing awareness to how life from the lens of their experience have created blueprints that we can learn from. So we have Tanya Williams, executive director of the Real World Film Festival. Tanya has been in film and television for over 3 decades. We have our guy Hal Johnson from Body Break. Hal Johnson is going to come and share his experiences.
He's got an incredible story that you have to listen to.
And that's what we're bringing stories to life with these people. We have Lamont Wilshire and Nadine Eccleston, who are making serious headways in terms of entrepreneurship and innovation. But these are voices we might not have heard, and they're coming to bring their stories on how they have been able to create blueprint that we all can learn from to really keep the social fabric of our humanity stitched together. So I'm excited about the lineup for the New Humanity Initiative's inaugural conference with the amazing cast of speakers and thought leaders that we have.
It's something that, look, obviously we're doing it, and it's something based on the lineup, what you're doing. It's very exciting, and everybody, it's just an exciting thing to be part of, and this is a groundbreaking change. I want to also, there are some questions people asked. I'd like to fire some at you.
Sure.
Is that cool? We're into our Q&A. Okay. One gentleman said, look, how do we communicate with clients about diversity as a strength? How do we do that?
Well,
that's very high up in the banking industry.
This is a good question. Simple. There's research, from McKinsey, research coming out of Bloomberg and Pew Research Centers that says that diversity increases the bottom line anywhere from 25 to 30%. And when we talk about it within the context of, progress and possibilities and profitability, the more diverse our organizations are, the greater we have sustainable impact. Not just profitability.
Well, there's a factual study on this.
Sustainable impact. Yes, and that comes from, McKinsey study that just came out earlier this year, just before the COVID experience. So when we have conversations or to answer questions around diversity and inclusion or around equity, it is that we have this captive audience to say that we come and we show up with our strengths and who we are. And the organizations ought to encourage us to show up fully. We don't just bring parts of us at home. I'm allowed to bring my dog to work as I'm allowed to bring my daughter or my son to work. We show up fully. I'm allowed to bring my talents, my creativity, my ideas, because you hired me because I can help you get to where you're going. I'm building out your mission. I'm helping you articulate your vision as an organization. And that's what diversity does. It brings perspective, because I don't know everything. And that allows us to really have what I call a smorgasbord of ideas to learn from each other. And I really have to say that this worked for me when I worked as a nonprofit executive director in one of the largest regions here in Canada. I had what I call an amazing support of diverse people, not just in my office, but in community. And when I say to you, I make no claims for my successes, I make claim for the team successes
Yep.
because I had the opportunity to be part of a diverse team experience that brought ideas to the table that created impact in community.
100%.
Yeah.
Hugh, another person said basically Hugh was right on the button that poverty challenges like that humanity challenges like poverty equity are very evident. We've known that for decades, yet there seems to be no improvement. So, what are the challenges you face convincing the influencers, the politicians, the leaders, those individuals in contributing, so they can become, I guess, agents of change.
Yeah. And I like the latter part. We're all agents of change. The question is, are we getting up and rise to that challenge? We all have the opportunity to make change. So when I talk to, you know, decision makers, influencers, and leaders, the first question that comes to my mind for them at all times: how would you like to see the future or your children and your grandchildren? Because it's not even about me. It's not about us. It's about how, in a sustainable and impactful way, we can help alleviate the pains that our world is facing. Because when you think of poverty, as I said, it's a construct earlier. We could make serious decision from a policy, a profitability level, and a progressive sense to really make, just like how we fundraise to make cancer history, we can fundraise to make poverty history. And we do a good job here in putting research into alleviate issues around cancer, around health and well-being. And we can do that with poverty.
So what we're coming to a close very shortly, but there's some
Yeah.
very other important things to bring up. So people are individuals. How do they get involved? How do let's give them some. How do they become a change maker? What should they? They're on this. These got a bunch of people on this thing. They're going to hang up the phone. What should
Yeah.
they? What should they? What's an action? What should they do? Well, we all know. Sign up
Okay.
to the conference, right?
All right. So yeah, get registered. We're gonna drop the link in the chat to get you registered for the conference. The thing I would say as a takeaway to be an agent of change, if change is going to start, let it begin with me. How is your neighbor next door coping throughout the COVID? Did you check in with your neighbor? Did you check in with that person you haven't called since COVID hit? What is it that I can do? And that's a question you ask yourself to make a difference in the life of one individual. I'm not asking you to start with the community, but what is it that you can do to make a difference in the life of one person? So, for example, you go to the supermarket, you see someone, and just like, I would have done, going for coffee. And I said, oh, I'll pay for the coffee for the person behind me without saying anything. What can we do? Let's think of small changes that we can make to build impact. The question is to what drives you? And for me, what drives me is the human condition. And when I say that, when last did you get the chance to listen to someone's story? When last did you make time to talk to the guy who, when I'm downtown on campus at Ryerson University, and someone comes to me and says, "Sir, help me." Do I ignore? Do I stop and say, "Let me have a conversation"? Because we're all human beings. When last did you share your smile with someone? And that's a simple thing. I'm not asking you to take money out of your pocket all the time. But what is happening in your world, in your community that needs your help? So for example, I'm a member of Kiwanis International here and president of the Kiwanis Club of Toronto Caribbean. And what we did when I saw what happened with COVID, for example, there are a lot of seniors, shut in, people who have physical challenges and disability that were falling below the poverty line in terms of access to food, quality food, children who depended on school feeding program. What I did, I just rallied the troops and say, let us create the Pack and Drop COVID-19 initiative where we help partner with community friends and organizations to provide cooked meals for seniors, shut-ins, disabled, and children. And what we did, I rallied the troops and say, let's bring, so we've raised over $10,000 just to help provide meals for people. So what are the simple things in your community, not very far from your nose, that needs your help? And how can you bring that?
Also, you've talked about those difficult conversations. Actually, I got to tell you, you've really empowered me to step out of my comfort zone. And I will tell you,
Thank you.
this whole experience has been a major eye-opener for me, a major eye-opener. And it's a privilege, really a privilege and an honor to serve with
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you.
major
I,
eye, but difficult conversations, yeah.
yeah, I when we talk about conversations, I don't show up with conversations being difficult, because one of the great things I've learned, having lost my voice, is to be a superb listener. And we have to learn to fire the judge that everyone who comes to us to share something, that we need to provide an answer. Sometimes we have to remember that all that individual needs is our ears. And that's what we need to give. They're not asking much. And that's why I learned we have 2 ears, 1 mouth, 2 eyes. So we must listen twice as much as we speak. And that's why we're here as human beings. Part of our sensibilities is to listen to each other. And I think if we start doing more of that, we will have a better appreciation and understanding of where we all are coming from. Because what is exciting is that there's no human condition that have been overcome, or any struggle that have been overcome by someone doing it alone.
Correct.
We are so interdependent, and that's what I want to remind us all. I couldn't have gotten here without the amazing team that you have on the 9 a.m. spot to make this happen.
Thank you.
You know, because it's not my good looks that brought me here. It's a fact that I'm passionate about what it is I want to do. I'm for community. I'm passionate about what is it that I can help humanity do for our societies. And that's what drives me.
Thank you. Thank you, Hugh. Just want, as we close, I'm going to take the opportunity to give everybody an action step. Okay? 1,
Thanks.
register. You got to register and sign up for the conference. I'm gonna get you out of your comfort zone. 2, every single person on this participant is not only going to register, they're going to go online on Hugh's LinkedIn or my LinkedIn, Hugh and Maddie, and they're going to share it with other people and tell their what do you call them, their contacts on LinkedIn. It's called the 3 degrees of separation. Okay.
Yes.
So before the end of today, when you're going to sign up and you're going to tell other people to sign up, we're going to get another 100 or 200 or 300 people to share the conference to The Voice. So do it. Step out of your comfort zone. Okay, share it and tell them to share it and tell them you're on this call, and let's make it. That's going to make a difference. Here's the opportunity. Okay, we're set. Hugh has set this up. Okay, on a silver platter. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yes, and please, do not hesitate to reach out to myself or Bruce, because CFO Services by Bison Capital Corp is our host and our producer for the event, with an amazing team from Beautiful Graphics working with us, and our partners, Tronda.com, our big media partner. Thank you so much, Tronda.com, for coming on board. But you want to reach out to me. I'm HUGHANTHONY, PhD on LinkedIn. Reach out to me. Don't hesitate. Send me an invite. I will be happy to accept. Let us also get onto digital media platforms and share the good news about the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Community Conference. So
Share,
look for me on all the digital
tell
media
other people.
platforms.
Yes. Hugh, we're going to
Yes.
wrap up here. And I just wanted to thank you very, very much. You're a tremendous individual, tremendous person.
Thank
really.
you. Thank you.
You
Thank
inspired
you.
me. And I'm so grateful that I'm honored to be part of this and include me in this journey, and all the people that are being included. It's really something. And I want to thank everybody for the change makers we now call that are on this, that are interested and on this Zoom call, and that they have the passion. It's appreciated. So get on LinkedIn, share. Okay.
Sure. Yes, and Bruce, remind them the New Humanity Initiative page is on LinkedIn. Just search it and invite yourself to come on it. Yes, let's get the word out.
We're getting the word out. Anyways, thank you, everybody. Have a great, wonderful day. And me and Hugh will be talking again very shortly, because we're planning, we're doing stuff. We're making things happen. Okay. So I want to thank you, and everybody have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you later. This is great, Hugh. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. Thank you all for participating.
Bye. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Hugh.
Bye.